What is up, everyone? Carlos from Smoke and Vine. First of all, thank you for checking out this video. Second of all, today we're cooking an absolute West Coast barbecue staple. Today, we're smoking a tri-tip. Let's go. All right, so growing up in the West Coast, the tri-tip was a staple in our home. We probably ate tri-tip at least once a week. It was a big deal, and it was really one of the first meats that I wanted to conquer on the grill, in the smoker, on the barbecue. So there's about 3 different ways that I consistently cook tri-tip, but today we're gonna focus on one method. The 3 ways that I typically cook it is reverse sear in the smoker, and that's what we're gonna do today. Another way you can do, also in the smoker, is cooking a tri-tip like a brisket. Cooking it low and slow. Now, I know there's a lot of hate on the internet about cooking tri-tip this way, but don't knock it till you try it. The first time I tried it, I was blown away by how good it was. I've given it to people and they literally thought it was brisket. The other way, and a very traditional West Coast way to cook tri-tip, is over a pit, over coals, over live fire, and we call that Santa Maria style here in California. So what we're gonna do today, we're gonna season this baby up, we're gonna get it on the smoker, low and slow. We're gonna take it to about 115 internal temperature. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna crank the temperature of the smoker. I'm gonna put a cast iron grill in there, take this out, let it rest for a little bit. Once the smoker gets to temp, gets about 450, 500 degrees, I'm gonna put this on there for a few minutes aside, sear it, looking to pull this out probably about 125, 127, let it rest for a few minutes, and it should be a perfect medium rare. So let's get going. Now, the reason this channel is called Smoke and Vine is because it's a lot more than just smoked meat. We're also talking about the fruit of the vine, and by that I mean wine. So what are we pairing today with this tri-tip? We're pairing a Sonoma Coast Syrah. I love Syrah and barbecue. Syrah and barbecue has got to be a match made in foodie heaven. The reason I like Syrah and barbecue so much is because a lot of the flavor profiles that you find in really good Syrahs, you can also find in barbecue. Specifically, this Syrah. This Syrah, I would say, is made very old world style, so it's not your traditional fruit heavy, punch you in the face California Syrah. It's got a lot of old world influence, even though it's made here in Sonoma. You're going to get a lot of smoke and pepper and just some really incredible flavor profiles that are going to complement this meat, especially since we're doing this meat in a smoker. So let's have a little taste. Oh, yes, you get fruit, but you also get some incredible earthiness and herbs, and absolutely very quickly on the nose, you get this pepper, you get this smoke, you get this heat, and it's just gonna go perfectly with this steak. Again, Ramey Syrah from the Sonoma Coast. And now it's time to trim our meat. Now on this side here, we just want to get rid of the silver skin or any fat that's clumped together, but on the other side, we are going to remove as much fat cap as possible. Now we're going to speed through this section because honestly, most meat trim videos on YouTube are far too long and boring. Now, a good rule of thumb here is to always cut away from you or you may lose your thumb. Now, I'm not going to be exactly perfect when it comes to removing this fat cap. I'm just looking to remove all those waxy bits of fat that really are not going to render off during our cook. But once I'm happy with that, I'm going to lube up this meat with a little bit of olive oil. And today for the seasoning, we're going 100% Rub Loves Smoke Mafia. This rub is going to give us some great heat. It's going to give us some sweetness, some of those classic barbecue flavors that we know and love. However, it is a little bit more elevated than your typical all-purpose barbecue rub. Next, we put our meter thermometer in, and then this is going to go in a 225 degree Traeger. We're looking for this to get about 115 degrees internal. Now, just before our meat reaches 115 internal, we're gonna put our cast iron grill inside the smoker. We're gonna let this warm up a little bit because this is the grill we're gonna be doing our reverse sear on. The tip has now reached 115. We're gonna take this off, let this rest, and crank the smoker to 450. Once the grill reaches temp, we're going to put our tri-tip back, do a quick sear, probably 2 or 3 minutes aside. We're looking for an internal temp of about 128. And ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Now, please, please, please do not forget to rest your tri-tip. Let this rest for 5 to 10 minutes, please. You will thank me. We're ready to cut into this bad boy, and we are looking for a perfect medium rare, and I think we have achieved that. Look at that. Perfect, juicy, moist. This is going to be fantastic. Now, when you're cutting your tri-tip, remember that the grain runs in 2 different directions on this cut of meat. So please pay close attention to how you're cutting this and where the grain is running. You want to cut against the grain. The fastest way to ruin your tri-tip is to cut with the grain instead of against the grain. It ends up chewy, it ends up tough, and honestly, you will not enjoy it. So pay close attention to where the grain is running on this cut of meat. Cutting this up with Dow Strong's Shogun Series slicer. If you do not have one of these knives, you need to invest in this right now. So as I grab the rest of the meat, I'm going to spin it around because again, we're cutting across and against the grain. Have a look. This cuts like butter. Honestly, I feel like I could have cut this with a fork. It was so tender, so juicy. Listen, I know some places are harder to find tri-tip, but if you can find it, you need to grab a tri-tip and make it this weekend. Let's go.